With 2024 coming to a close in less than a week, our Jason Livia has more on how the year turned out when it comes to the weather.
2024 was a wild year for weather, both nationwide and right here in the Mid-Ohio Valley. Let's start by taking a look at some of the big events that defined this year.
In April, multiple rounds of heavy rainfall in the general region led to the Ohio River to rise into flood stages. In Parkersburg, the river caused the city to close the openings in the flood wall, given the estimation of the river to rise to around 40 feet. In peak flooding, much of Point Park was underwater. Up in Marietta, the Ohio River crested at 40.1 feet on April 5th, flooding almost all of the space between the Ohio and Muskingum rivers and Route 7. Additional flooding happened in numerous areas across several counties in the MOV region. The second flood in mid-April crested slightly lower at about 37.9 feet. While the impacts were much lighter, some roads in Marietta were still covered by water. In May, a severe weather system moved through the MOV, and one of the storms produced a rare West Virginia tornado, rated EF1, that tracked for just 3.4 miles just north of US 50 near Walker, West Virginia. The tornado injured one person. Switching gears now, we turn to the ongoing drought in the region. Due to very low rainfall in May and June, a drought began developing, which, combined with the hot temperatures in June through September, led to the worst drought in recorded history for both West Virginia and Ohio. The drought reached the exceptional category for the first time in West Virginia and Ohio history around late August to early September. The drought peaked near late September. Much of southeast Ohio and areas south of Wood County in West Virginia were under the exceptional category. As of the most recent Drought Monitor update, Wood County, West Virginia's drought has officially ended. While we are still on the dry side, D0 is not considered a drought, only slightly dry. Part of the turnaround the drought had was the arrival of Hurricane Helene in late September. In the days leading up to Helene's landfall, multiple environmental factors allowed moisture to stream into West Virginia, which led to a sizable dent in the drought in the state. The drought, however, persisted through October, and real relief did not come until November. Now to the year as a whole, overall, it's been a very warm year. In fact, it's the warmest year on record for the Mid-Ohio Valley. If temperatures for the rest of the year are right around what they forecasted to be, our average temperature for 2024 will be approximately 57 degrees, which is about 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit or 1.5 degrees Celsius above the normal of 54.3. July was the hottest month, with an average temperature of 76.6 degrees. And both July and August saw an average high temperature of nearly 90. On the side of precipitation, we will be on the dry side, nowhere near the driest, however. Normal annual precipitation for the MOV is around 42.5 inches. This year, if the rainfall remains as expected for the next several days, we will be just under 40 inches of rain. June was our driest month compared to the average, with 3 fewer inches of rain than normal. October was right behind, with 2 inches fewer.
Heading into 2025, we look to start on the warm side, at least in January. But only time will tell how 2025 will go. Back to you, Andrew.